founder of the Cherie Blair Foundation for Women, and I've got this amazing opportunities today to talk to an old friend. Chioma, will you introduce yourselves to everybody?
Hello, everyone. My name is Chioma Ukono. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Recycle Point. Recycle Point is Nigeria's foremost waste recycling and social benefit venture that motivates post-consumers to recycle by creating value from their everyday waste.
And Chioma, of course, we first met in 2016 when I came to Lagos to give out I think the first cohort of our Road to Growth program. I came to the Lagos Business School and we gave out the certificates and met various people, including yourself.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me how you've been inspired by being in London and seeing that we were recycling and wanting to do something for your own hometown of Lagos.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so meeting in 2016 was very, very an amazing experience. Like, how people don't know how it is, how young women feel when they see older, more, progressive, older women that are, breaking the boundaries and doing something great globally. Like, when I saw you that day, I felt very inspired. And since then, I've followed and you have mentored me. I'm super grateful for that. And the first time I heard the word, sort of the social impact of being unbanked, banking the unbanked demography or banking the unbanked population from that 2016. And I've been able to inculcate that into Recycle Point activity. So, Recycle Point started with with an embarrassing situation in the UK, where we recycled we were on family vacation and we recycled our waste wrongly over a period of time, and so we're trashing.
I'm not the only one, I promise you.
I was putting our waste in the wrong bin apparently because color coded bins. We are coming from Nigeria. We didn't have color coded bins then, and we didn't know what it meant. So we got fined. And that, motivated us to go back home and start sorting our waste and, generally come up with a solution for the waste management crisis that Lagos was going through that suits the Nigerian ethos, right? So, and that was how Recycle Point was born, straight from my kitchen. And as they say, the rest is history. Here we are today. We've gone ahead to, our vision was to start and sustain waste recycling revolution in Nigeria and Africa at large. And we're happy to see tremendous changes since then. And we've won various awards as an organization, as an individual. And most recently, just some days back, I got, awarded for the MB 100 list, which is the Meaningful Business 100 list. And Recycle Point earlier this year got the 2020 Coca-Cola Foundation Climate Award. Coca-Cola Climate Change Award, not the foundation, sorry.
Well, I remember you sharing that news about Coca-Cola with me, and it's a significant award, and it will definitely help your business. But your business model is, I know, that you give people rewards in order to incentivize them to actually recycle their waste, because often in places like Nigeria, I mean, I've been to Lagos and I know there is a huge waste problem. And if no one else is collecting the waste, then obviously, why should you? But if you can give people incentives, then it makes a big difference. And I think you've grown the incentives that you've been giving people. Is that right?
Yes, please. People are barely getting by. Like, why do they want, everybody commingle their waste and dump it at the dump site and it gets burnt, and whose business is that, right? People are just getting by. And when we came, that was initially when we started. So when we came in and started talking to people, you have to sort your waste from source. They're like, why would I do that if there's already a general waste disposal system? So it wasn't in our culture. So we thought to bring in incentives to, motivate people to, sort their waste and recycle and reduce what is going to the dump sites. And then like magic, it caught up. People responded tremendously to that. That was significant change. So, we found out that incentives are very good drivers of culture change. in general, especially within the waste recycling sector. It has proven to work so well.
And in addition to that, I think you've provided jobs. And can you tell us a little bit about how many jobs and how much waste have you recycled?
Oh, okay. So we started with four people, 14 members, and now we employ over 50 people, and full time, and we've created over 230 waste pickers, and then we have over 10,000 households recycling with us, and we recycle per month about 100 tons of waste. And we've gone from just being in Lagos State with one hub in Lagos State to about 5 hubs in Lagos State, and then in Delta State, and then in Imo State, and we're hoping to go into the River State, Port Harcourt. So we're expanding, and then Kaduna State. So we've gone to the north. We started in the western Nigeria. We've gotten a place in the north, and then the Niger Delta, and then the southeast Nigeria.
So this is a woman-led drive to clean up Nigeria. I know your ambitions are to spread all over the country, and after that, who knows?
Yeah, the continent.
Exactly. But tell me, you took part in our Road to Growth program in 2016. How did it help you? What did you learn?
Oh, that program was an eye opener. Like, for someone like me, I learned on the job, and I pioneered waste recycling in Nigeria. Recycle Point pioneered waste recycling in Nigeria. So there was nobody doing what I was doing, incentive-based social impact waste recycling, to look up to. So literally learned on, doing the whole, going through the process. And then the opportunity for Cherie Blair Foundation Road to Growth happened. And that was when it brought in structure. Like I understood, financial aspect of running business, a governance aspect of running business, practical example, like, oh, you don't take the money from the business and go buy diapers because mommy, we're out of milk. Oh, take money here, go get the milk, those kind of things. So it brought structure and then into our business, and gave me more confidence, because a lot of women suffer from the imposter syndrome, where you be like, are you sure you can do this? What if, the what if they say mentality that keeps coming to your head. But with the Cherie Blair Foundation, you'll be like, I'm trained for this. I've gone through this program, and I'm confident enough to approach organizations and say, this is what I do, and this is how I do it. And you can depend on me because I know I've been trained at Lagos Business School to do this. So it brought a whole new level of confidence to me and to the business.
Well, you've certainly done us proud. Now, we're talking in this conference particularly about gender stereotypes and how it affects women entrepreneurs. So there you are, a woman coming into Lagos and telling the people there that actually they need to recycle. I mean, did you encounter stereotypical responses to that? I mean, did people take you seriously, or did they pat you on the head and say, well done, little girl, go and sit over there?
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was a joke. Oh, let's just give them 1 month or 2 months, they would die off. This whole passion, die off someday, or they didn't believe it, that it was gonna last. We are 9 years old now, and most people that see us now didn't believe that as we started then that we were going to last this long. So most people give that pat at the back or pat at the head and say, okay, run along, young girl. But the issue is that even within families, within your inner circles, people were like, why are you resigning from your paying job in the bank to go do this? Who is going to listen to you? Yes, you're a woman who's going to listen to you and all of that. So, bearing in mind that our community or society is very quite patriarchal. So when at work, someone walking and said, I want to speak to your boss. Okay, my dialect in Lagos, it's called Oga. I want to see the Oga of this place. I want to see the boss. And you tell them, I'm the person. They're like, they're expecting to see a man that will come up because that is the picture of the boss that has been, structured in the society or socialized according to how the society has been socialized. So yeah, there were some places where you want to go into an office, they were like, okay, the person you're talking to is giving you a response that that is because you're a woman. If it was a man that walked into this office, it would be more, they'll receive a different response, right? So all of that happened, but I didn't give up. I kept on going. I don't take no for an answer. And with the success of the business came it was a validation, basically,
Yeah,
that this woman is sincere.
recognition makes a great difference, and now you yourself are
Mhm.
becoming a role model for other young women who want to set up their own businesses, and that's what it's all about. In the people you employ, do you employ many other women?
Oh, I employ a lot of women. About 70% of our workforce are women. I even have, young ladies, teenage moms strap baby to their back and show up for the waste and sorting hub because no other person is going to employ them. And that's where the social impact or social dimension of our organization comes into. She's just a new mother. She's a kid herself, and she
Yeah.
needs money. And no one is going to employ her with a baby strapped at her back because she doesn't have money for childcare. So I'm like, come in, work, can put the baby down here, and we have a small space. We can put the baby down in the office, and you work. And her life was changed when she had the money going back home in her hand. You could see that she had her shoulder squared properly. She's not going to go back to the abusive man who comes back drunk and beats her up and all of that. So there's a social dimension to that, and but in general, I've also mentored a lot of women. When I started, people see me start this in waste recycling, encourage other women to start because they're like, this business, how did you even get into it? Like, you don't look like the person that should be doing this, but I'm doing it. They're like, so if Chioma can do it, I can do it too. And I mentored a lot of them. But Recycle Point, we literally help to build a sector. That was necessary for us because as an organization, you couldn't engage with the government as an organization, but as a sector, you could. So how do we get to build a sector? Then we, encourage people to come in and give us one voice, and we could, move as a sector or as an association to, have contributions in policies that have to do with waste recycling and waste management in general.
So are you now finding yourself being able to have a seat at the table of these more general discussions about the environment?
Yes, that's
So
definitely it. Yeah, you're definitely, after being in the sector for over 9 years, about 9 years, you become a thought leader in the sector. So basically, if it comes to waste recycling in Nigeria, you can't talk about waste recycling in Nigeria without calling Recycle Points.
see, so they have to talk to you. But
Yeah.
obviously there were challenges at first. But what changes would you like to see around women entrepreneurs that would make it easier for them to follow in your footsteps? I mean, what more could we do to help women be taken seriously, to help women have that confidence to be able to put themselves forward? Are there any ideas you have about that?
Oh, okay. Number one is ally. We need strong and able ally that could scoot for us at the table.
Yeah.
In Recycle Point, I also work here with my husband is my co-founder. So he was able to, be that needed ally to project me and say, oh, talk to her. When they come to her with the stereotypical way of he was direct them back to talk to madam. So you need an ally women need allies in men to say, let's give these people deserve a seat at this table. We're not saying, oh, leave the table for us. At least scoot a bit at the table for us to have a seat. Yeah. And so we need ally, we need funding that are targeted to women. And then we need training that are targeted to women. Training that would boost confidence too is also needed, because most times women are not confident. Like I said, the imposter syndrome. A lot of women go through that enough. They're not confident enough. So in as much as we're giving financial training, physical training. There should also be emotional training that build, or psychological training that also builds confidence. And I'm very confident that women are going to, they say, empower a woman and you empower a nation, right? Because women, any money you give to the woman, it trickles down. The impact trickles down. It doesn't just go. She's very meticulous. She's very conservative. She makes sure it goes around. So by default, let's try to make policies that would empower women, put more opportunities and resources, funding into the hands of women. Let's have very able allies in men that will say it's time for women to do this, and let fellow women be confident to say, I deserve this. I was the one that wrote. If you read one that wrote the business plan, just put your hands up and say, I'm the one that wrote the business plan. You don't have to go under a man to say, oh, let him do the presentation. Meanwhile, you're the one that wrote it. If you wrote it, if you are the owner of the business, speak up.
Oh, that's amazing. And actually, all credit to your husband too, because he also defied the gender stereotypes.
Yeah.
He said, actually, my wife is the better one to speak on these matters. And so, whereas he was therefore challenging the stereotype himself that I, the husband, should be the one to speak. So well done. It's a great partnership. Let me talk a little bit about what's happened in the last 18 months or so, because I haven't been able to come to Lagos as I used to come regularly, but obviously because of the pandemic, it's been impossible to do that. And in fact, you and I have met face to face on other occasions, but we haven't been able to meet face to face for this conference. But thanks to the internet, we're doing it like this. So what were the challenges for you at Recycle Points in relation to the pandemic? And then also perhaps tell us a little bit about whether those challenges were similar to or different from other women entrepreneurs that you came across, and how they were coping with the pandemic.
Oh, okay. The pandemic has impacted the whole world in a negative way, and that for Recycle Point in particular, when the lockdown started, the government didn't put waste recycling. It took a while before the government, could classify waste recycling, recyclable waste collection as essential services that could move around. So all the waste pickers were all, that depended on daily income from the waste they collect and give to us. They couldn't fend for themselves and their families, so we had to do COVID intervention program for monetary and then food supply, dry food supply to them. And then before the government, allowed us, it also affected us because we couldn't collect as much as we could. We couldn't do much. It was a full shutdown. So whilst we're supporting the people that were dependent on us for their income as much as we could, we're speaking with the government to open up for us to, collect. And when that happened, it was still restricted movement. So that meant that prior, our model was a door-to-door waste collection model. But with the COVID restriction, we pivoted our model to drop-off recycling initiative, which worked with other organizations to develop. And that meant that instead of going to 50 houses for pickup, because I didn't want to expose my workers to families, and families didn't want anybody coming to them. No one knows what you have, right? Yeah. So because of that, we came up with a model, an asset that's called the Dory Bean. It's like over 6 foot bean that is IoT enabled, that could be at the street, at the end of the street, hosted by one person. And the whole street, the whole 50 household can just go put it there. So it's recycling, but with limited contact. And so that was what we got out of COVID. And since then, other couple of organizations have been able to, fund it and support it, and it's been working very well. So that we're empowering women green entrepreneurs. So because you have that Dory Bean, you are a green entrepreneur, because we pay you for whatever is being collected there, and we also pay the recyclers. So COVID challenge enabled us to pivot our model to, make recycling more accessible to more people, and also reduce our logistic cost.
You are amazing, actually, because what you said, two things you said there. One was pivot,
Mhm.
and the other thing is actually from that pivot, gaining actually a wider business model is something that we've seen replicated with many of the other women we're working with in other parts of the world. The COVID, first of all, made them have to consider again how they were doing their business.
Okay.
And many of them also had to think about, how do I support my workers who suddenly find themselves with no work to do? And the other thing, of course, is that often in those solutions, you find better ideas for your business. And so it's a win-win. But resilience, I think, is the key here. And resilience is something over the last 18 months we've been talking about a lot in our programs, and
Yes.
encouraging women to know. Don't we know women are always resilient?
Yeah.
I think it's in our DNA, and we've seen time and time again examples like the one that you have told us about. And what about other people around you? Have you seen that examples in other women entrepreneurs that you know in COVID actually having a, well, obviously a detrimental, but also a
Positive.
positive thing?
Yeah, I saw women, within our program, within our Road to Growth women, Cherie Blair Foundation Road to Growth women. Most of them, went online with their business.
Yeah.
So it became like essential to sell online. So, and they took that up, and that's you can call that another way. They've pivoted their business to sell online. And on the downside, I saw business close, and they're mostly women, and I supported as much as possible, and gave advice and funding to some to keep going. But the good thing is that everybody's in recovery. Everyone is in recovery mood now, as COVID, the lockdowns are being lifted gradually or slightly, or no more as intense as it used to be. There are people are recovering and finding their footing, and within the network, having the network of women in Road to Growth has been very encouraging. Do you know that we see
I'm
have
delighted. I'm delighted you mentioned networking,
yeah
because this is one of the things we've discovered in all our programs, but in Road to Growth in particular, many of our women call themselves sisterpreneurs, and though
yeah
it starts with a small cohort, you keep in touch. And I
yeah
think that's one of the important lessons, I'm sure you'd agree, that women entrepreneurs benefit from that ability to be able to talk to others like them.
yes, and we still kept our WhatsApp group since 2016. We are all still in the same WhatsApp group, sharing
That,
ideas and opportunities.
and tell me one last thing, I suppose. What about what's next? What's Recycle Point going to do next?
Oh, okay. Recycle points. We're expanding our operational footprint within the country, and whilst looking at the regional expansion. And then um, we're working on closing the loop on one of the type of plastic we collect internally, because prayer is we get in, we process to a bit, and then we sell off. Now we're trying to close the loop within, like from product to product. We're working on that. We have some tech samplings happen at UCLA, and we have some people working with us to make sure that we have the right chemical mix and product mix. So working at that at the background.
Well,
Yeah.
that sounds amazing, both green and another opportunity for your business. But I wanted to end on the fact that, of course, I know, like me, you're a mother. I'm a grandmother now, but and you have daughters. What would you like your daughters to know, or to have access to as they're growing up, to become young women, successful young women that perhaps you wish you'd known?
Yes, my daughter has a very, she was in a program to ask her who is your mentor and who inspires you. She said, my mom.
Hey.
So I teach her to be strong. I teach her that excellence is not a native of any nation. You make excellence your home. You make your home the native of excellence. You work it out. and be strong, be confident. Don't let anybody tell you you cannot. And that's the young lady she is. She's a teenager.
That's an absolutely great message from her and from you. And I'm afraid our time has come to an end. So all I can say is we'll continue this conversation as we do. And thank you so much for being such a role model yourself, and to have been such a great supporter of the Cherie Blair Foundation for Women. Truly, we gave you something, but you've given us back so many times. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
And Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Keep on recycling.
I will.